Hello, my name is Pastor Swanson from the Berean Baptist Church of Beloit, Wisconsin. It is my honor and joy to be able to introduce to you Jeremy Robertson. He has a desire to go to Ukraine, to serve the Lord there in Ukraine, to win people to the Lord. Jeremy is a faithful, dedicated member here at Berean Baptist Church, and God's hand is upon this young man. He will do a great job there in Ukraine, and he needs your support. Would you prayerfully consider supporting Jeremy Robertson to the mission field of Ukraine? Thank you very much. God bless.
Ukraine, once a city of historical and cultural richness, a land of natural beauty, has become a nation of destruction, sadness, war, and darkness. And yet, in the middle of this darkness, God's light is shining through believers, through churches, and through missionaries. Now, in the middle of this darkness, God has called me to Odesa, Ukraine, to work as a missionary. My name is Jeremy Robertson, and I'm being sent out of Berean Baptist Church in Beloit, Wisconsin, as a missionary to Odesa, Ukraine. To start, I was saved at the age of 18. Even though I grew up in a Christian home and heard the gospel all the time, I still couldn't get it out of my head that I was a good enough person, that God should save me. I deserved salvation. I even went to college at Maranatha Baptist University for a semester, and in that first semester there, God continued to convict me and show me that the Christian facade that I had put on was nothing but a facade. I did not have a relationship with God. It was on the winter break after that first semester at Maranatha that in the middle of a church service, God showed me for the first time that I am a sinner. And it was when I realized that I realized how wonderful the gospel is and what it means that Christ died for my sins. On that day, January 6th, 2019, I accepted Christ as my Savior. And now, my life's goal is to serve Him. I graduated in May of 2022 from Maranatha Baptist University, but before that, I decided to spend a summer with a foreign missionary. God led me to go and work in the summer of 2021 with missionary Mark Berean and his wife Lydia in Odesa, Ukraine. When I first went to Odesa, Ukraine, I didn't know the Bereans and I didn't know anything about Odesa or Ukraine. The people of Ukraine are friendly, open, and strong. But as a whole, the nation of Ukraine is in spiritual darkness. 72% of the people of Ukraine consider themselves Orthodox. The premise of the church is that if you do the right thing and do what the church says, follow the traditions, that you can go to heaven, that you can earn salvation. When I left Odesa that first summer in 2021, I had a burden for the people of Ukraine. In fact, when I got back to Maranatha for my last semester before graduating, I bought a ticket to go back and spend 2 years working in Odesa, Ukraine. But I bought the ticket on a Tuesday, and that Thursday was February 24th, 2022, the day that Russia invaded Ukraine, starting the war that has now lasted more than 2 years. As I prayed about what God wanted me to do in the middle of this war, God led me finally to Timișoara, Romania. I had followed many Odessans that I knew, and many of them had ended up in Timișoara, Romania. That's where I first heard about a church there with an American missionary, Tim Tyler. And God led me to spend 18 months working with Brother Tim Tyler and his wife Debbie in Timișoara, Romania. I loved getting involved in the weekly services that the Ukrainians had. I would often preach, run live stream, and help in other ministries there. I loved leading the teens in their activities and doing lessons and devotionals for them. I also started an English club while I was there that I did twice a week. My goal in that was to just be able to reach out to people who weren't in the church, who weren't believers, and to begin to share the gospel with them. The other big thing that I did while I was in Timișoara, Romania, was to take 2 trips into Odesa, Ukraine. What I found was that Odesa is a very different city. There are military stops all the way up to the city and in the city. The city most of the time has no electricity, and there are bombings regularly. In the middle of this dark time in the city of Odesa, God is doing an amazing work. Brother Mark Priam, who I was with back in 2021, has continued in the city of Odesa, working in the church, sharing the gospel, and helping people in the middle of the war. When I was there in January, I went out with him each night of the week. He has a big van, and we would fill it up with food, go to different stops, and there would be a group of people. We'd get out, everyone would sit down, and Brother Priam would open up the Bible and preach the gospel to them for 20, 30 minutes. Often people would have questions, and then they would all sing a hymn together, and then pass out food to those who needed it, and go to another stop and do the same thing. There is a growing ministry there. There are so many needs, so many opportunities to share the gospel, to disciple people, and more opportunities than Brother Mark Priam can take advantage of right now. I also saw that there's a big need for discipleship. And the other thing I saw is that there was an openness to the gospel. There was a special opportunity right now, even in the midst of this terrible war, to share the gospel with people. On my way back from Odesa in August of 2023, I was praying about what God wanted me to do. And as I drove back to Timișoara, Romania, I felt the peace of God to go full-time to Odesa, Ukraine, and work there as a missionary. I got back from Romania in December of 2023, and I'll be going to Odesa, Ukraine, full-time as a missionary in October. First of all, I want to support the ministry of Mark Priam, who has been there in Ukraine for over 30 years. I want to understand his vision and be able to help him. I also will be looking for ways to share the gospel. I also want to take part in discipleship in the church. Brother Priam wants to start a Bible Institute, and I want to be part of that, getting it set up, working in it. I also want to do discipleship one-on-one, especially with teens who need male leader examples and just somebody to walk through the Bible with them and help them. I'm looking for churches who want to partner with me financially and through prayer. I would ask that you pray for the people there in the city of Odesa, Ukraine, who need to hear the gospel, who need to be discipled. And please pray for me as I go, that God would give me boldness and clear leading. Thank you.